Good morning, good day, good afternoon. My name is Graham Gordon Thomas. Through a series of videos I'm going to introduce the idea of co-opracy, C-O-O-P-R-A-C-Y, co-opracy, because it is a new way of looking at democracy in our present paradigm, and it relates to how the nature of the corporate socialist system itself. Co-opracy is a human system. It's based on human differences. I don't mean gender differences, I mean the differences in all individual, the potential difference, what that means in all individual to be a great individual. And that's the potential in all humans, no matter what they are. The corporate system desires, that it uses the word diversity and equality, but actually what it gets down to, fundamentally, everyone's it's just a number, and each body is just a body to be used and sold on within the corporate sector. That's all it is. That's why people are employed or sold by the governments or job agencies, or then they become the controllers of that body. You're just a number, contracted. The idea of retirement after being employed for some time is always obviously attractive to most people. Some people don't want to retire, and that's fair enough. That's their choice, freedom of choice. It's a very, very important thing for humans to have freedom of choice. Now, the Liberal government in Australia desires that everyone should work till 70. We don't know where that was going to end, regardless that many occupations cause injury and physical strain during the work in years, and therefore working till 70 seems rather an odd thing to suggest, especially by people who probably never worked in their life in anything strenuous. Now, the idea of retirement should be flexible and sliding scale, and it should be flexible because humans are variable and occupations are variable. What I'm suggesting is that by the time people get to 50, 52, 53, depending on the occupation, maybe they're not fit for employment, and they have to be retired because of the class of person they are, means that chances are they may never find work again because of the generational change and cultural change and nature of employment itself. And so it's unfair to ask those people, say a 52-year-old who was a bricklayer, then to go on through numerous job interviews for jobs he knows he's not going to get. Is just simply cruel and nasty, and abuse of someone who's actually worked hard. Because the Liberal Party say it supports hard workers, and actually it does not. It says if you're finished, if you're no longer in use as a taxpayer within the corporate system, you're finished, and we're going to pay you New Start, which is the dole, which is hardly enough money to pay your rent and your bills. Therefore, many people under the Liberal system will become not only redundant because of the nature of employment, but they will become homeless because of the costs and charges relating to the living standards that governments have imposed, like electricity and rents and housing costs, etc., which the dole does not cover. So therefore, thousands and thousands of people in Australia would end up on the street to then release the housing for the young immigrants that the Liberals are bringing in. Therefore, the Liberals are creating a redundancy system so that the people who will be made homeless after working hard and they won't get enough money to live on will become street people, and chances are they will become redundant or feel redundant and dispossessed and they will not live as long as they would have been normally under normal, more humane and less corporate circumstances. So what I'm suggesting is, because there's more to this, because there should be a national savings plan that all put into, so that it's beyond the super system, that's a universal savings plan, so that it's in a pool of money, so when people retire, on top of the money, the amount the government pays, then there is a fund there, a resource that then allows a universal income for people who've worked for long enough to earn it, and so therefore they're not having to live shamelessly on the streets, because that is a desire of the Liberal Party of Australia, to see more and poor people living on the streets. While it brings 190,000 migrants in a year, it needs to have some place for them to live. So you can see it's a very clever program that they have. The idea of people working in the 70s is fine. That's a good idea to have people working for as long as but it has to be purely voluntarily after 65. No one minds working if they're a worker, but after 65 it has to be purely voluntarily, and maybe when after that you pay less tax or whatever it is, but it should not be compulsory, so that the government then can force hard-working nurses and labour class of people and tradesmen, mechanics into New Start, where there's no chance for getting another start, or they're too physically worn out to working other occupations, and they may just want to desire to retire, which should be their choice. And because of the amount of young people coming on that need work, the idea of increasing the time you work makes no sense when you need to vacate those spaces to allow young people then to be employed, because they need the occupations. So the whole idea that the Liberals have in Australia of increasing the working age of 70 is cruel, inhumane and corporate. It's simply saying you're a number. We don't care how hard you've worked. Once you pass the use-by date, we're going to make sure you struggle, you become redundant, you become depressed, you become ill, you become on the streets, and therefore causing a lot of hardship on purpose by political design by these people in the Liberal Party of Australia. It's a very serious matter for this country of Australia to say what is a fair go when people have worked hard don't get one at all. So we have to look at this. So I'm advocating a flexible sliding scale, variable differential, humane retirement system that is supported by a national savings plan, which I will go into details in another video, and then that means that all can retire after a certain age, and that's something to be, I am not to get arbitrary on that, just I have laid bricks for long enough to know that after 55 it becomes physically difficult, and you need time to recover. But you're not going to get, I can assure you, no one wants to give you a job after you've done that. For some reason you've laid bricks, you must be dumb, and that's what they designate you as, a dumb bricklayer. So you're not going to get a job anywhere else. And many older men at 50 will find it difficult getting jobs unless they know someone. So it's a very cruel system. But the thing is, we have to make it flexible, it has to be human, it has to take into account that not everyone ages the same. Genetically, people are genetically predisposed to become older at different times. That's what the human is. Not all races age the same. So when the Liberals say, oh, everyone's living longer, so we have to raise it to 70, that's just a pure, unadulterated lie. And not only that, it shows the ignorance and the profound inhumanity of the present corporate system that has taken over Australia. And I say this with all seriousness. It's a very serious matter when an inhuman government wants to take over and run the life of humans. We just have to consider what are we going to do democratically about that. That's it. So there you go. In a nutshell, we need to create a flexible, variable differential retirement system supported with a national savings plan, which all must commit to, whether you're on the dole or whether you're on the street. Everyone must put into this savings plan. We have a personal obligation towards ourselves, human capital. You can't totally rely upon the state and whinge about the state when it kind of makes life difficult for you. We have to, as a people, understand that we have to rely upon ourselves because the state no longer cares. So there needs another system that supports the people along with the state system, which is corporate. But these are just a series of speeches or explanations of why we need to change the system we have, which is democratic, to one which is cooperates to the higher human level rather than just creates collectives for the corporate aim. The corporate system creates a series of collectives based on emotional attachment to certain politically correct ideas, and it has ignored on purpose the real justice of equality is within the social economic agendas within the political system has. And that has been the great con of the last few decades, pretending there's gone about equality and diversity when in fact they're ignoring the most important thing about we are diverse in our DNA, we are diverse in our predisposition to age. Some are lucky to age longer, some will age a lot faster, and therefore to say, oh, you're going to retire, all retire at 70 is simply cruel. So we need to look at another system, flexible retirement systems based on sliding scale with a national savings plan that then helps support a universal wage, and also we'll look at sliding scales of rent, electricity, communications and things like that, so people are retired are not burdened with debts they can't support because of the system there is. They've got to make a human system within the corporate monopolies that basically control the systems right now. We have to have another system what is in parallel to it, which helps protect humans from what is a very bad government system at the moment. Thank you. My name's Graham Gordon Thomas, introducing to you, the people, an idea called Co-opracy, sliding scale systems, or philosophy if you like, on variable GST or variable consumption tax. Thank you.